Hey everybody, Hands here with another Dark Souls boss fight video. I apologize for not uploading anything recently. I've been really sick. I mean, just hunched over a toilet, expelling fluids, just not pretty, but I hope you enjoy what I've got thrown down here. Alright, let's start with a little boss preparation for Seath the Scaleless. The Scaleless Betrayer of Dragons, who deals primarily magic damage and physical damage because he's a dragon with the biting and the claws and, you know, tentacles, etc. You know, dragons, whatever. Anyway, I chose to equip myself with the Elite Knight set because, as far as I'm concerned, that is the best overall protection you're ever going to get in this game. Fully upgrading this will allow you to outpace heavier armor sets equally upgraded. So I would suggest making this your first piece to completely upgrade if at all possible. And then after that, I actually have my spell Stoneplate Ring so that I can soak up some more magic damage that Seath deals. You might also want to consider resisting yourself to curse, because all of Seath's magic attacks actually deal the curse attribute as well, and that could actually fuck your day up more than the magic damage could, depending on your health. Also, you'll notice the two weapons I equipped there. Seath actually has lower resistances to both fire and lightning. Lightning because he's a dragon, and fire because, well, it's not as high as his magic resist, which is like he's almost immune to it. So I would attack either one of those two elements instead of his physical resistances, which are slightly higher. And then in addition to that, I brought around my Crest Shield again, because the physical and magic damage absorption makes all of this a great deal easier to deal with if you have to soak his hits. And then I brought my Composite Bow just because, you know, maybe I'll have to throw some shots at him from range. You never know. Alright. So, as you can see here, I got my buddy Warghost with me. He's like my partner in crime when I usually attempt shit like this. Anyhow, couple of things to go over for this fight. First off, Seath is a dragon, naturally. So, lopping off any one of his creepy tentacle tails will net you a dragon weapon, which I believe is referred to as the Moonlight Greatsword. If you plan on using any character that actually inflicts elemental damage, Moonlight Greatsword, solid weapon to have. Would recommend. Second, you'll notice a little later in the video that me and my buddy Warghost start just like blindly attacking this dumbass, thinking we're just gonna totally like rock his world. Yeah, that's not the way to go about this. Yeah, anyway, Seath initially is protected by the Primordial Crystal that is actually on the opposite side of the room of him, and you need to like destroy that shit before you can even deal any damage, as was blatantly shown by the fact that we were dealing damage to him and nothing fucking happened, because we're stupid. So yeah, don't play this game drunk, just saying. Anyway, after you destroy that crystal, either yourself or Seath accidentally does it, just roll in there and start hacking the shit out of him the best that you can. And like I said, lop off a tail so you can get that Moonlight Greatsword, and make sure you attack the tip of the tail, because that'll ensure that you actually lop off a tail. Another issue you might want to deal with in all of this is if you got a buddy that you're playing this particular boss fight with, you might want to make that buddy aware that he might be spawning right up next to Seath when this fight starts, because that's exactly what's happened every time I've ever done this with my bud Warghost. So, something to consider for anybody else hanging out and helping you out with this. Like I said, follow some of my instructions, add your own flavor to it if you want, and you should walk out of this fight relatively unscathed. Personally, I would just walk right up to Seath after you've destroyed the crystal and just beat the ever-loving shit out of him with your favorite melee weapon, because staying at range with him is a huge pain in the ass. So, there you go. Okay, time for a little boss preparation for Ceaseless Discharge. Oh, that sounds so wrong. Let's just call him Lava Diarrhea Monster, because that's pretty much what he is. Man. Anyway, Ceaseless Discharge primarily deals physical and fire damage, and is completely immune to fire damage. So your gear is pretty much going to want to be stacked towards either dealing magic and lightning damage. I think his magic resistance is slightly lower than his lightning resistance, so you may want to stack up on that. Don't quote me, but I think that's how it goes. Anyhow, you may or may not have a shield that is adequate for this sort of fight, but I just so happen to have a Black Knight shield, which the regular version of this, I don't know if there's another version. Anyway, the Black Knight shield that I had, that absorbs like 90% of like fire damage, so I thought I'd bring it along for this fight, just to see how it fares if I actually get hit with that thing up. But I actually never did, so depending on your gear setup, you may not even want to bother with that in general. So, like I said, focus primarily on lightning and magic damage and physical damage if that's your thing. And bulk up on your fire and physical damage resistance, because this is a giant fucking dude with creepy fire hentai tentacles that are just gonna rock your fucking world. Alright? Just... I don't know how to explain this other than he's just gonna be swinging that shit at you, and it's gonna be uncomfortable as fuck, and I don't know, just buckle up, alright? Alright, so another fight that I brought my buddy Warghost with me on, and him and I have some different schools of thought on how to approach a fight. His is mostly like, I'm gonna put all my points into vitality and equip the heaviest fucking set of armor that I can possibly find. I'm more of a, I'd like to strike a balance between mobility and protection kind of deal. So you can see here, I mean, he's got a giant set. He's got like the heaviest fucking halberd that he can find, and I'm obviously not as defensively equipped. But anyhow, you kick this fight off by looting the corpse that you'll see here in the far right side here. That gets you the gold hemmed set, which I believe is actually stupidly good at resisting fire, among a number of other things. But like I said, this fight basically boils down to your ability to avoid shit like that. Were it not for the fact that I actually bulked up on my fire resistance. I probably wouldn't have survived any of the shit that actually happened in this fight with any reasonable consistency, because, I mean, like I said, I like to strike a balance in all of the things that I do. So, yeah, obviously I got the shit knocked out of me in this fight, but, yeah, this is one of those situations where I probably should have died. I don't even know why the fuck I was even alive. I mean, what was that, like 2 fucking hit points? Anyhow, learn from my mistakes. Don't do the things that I do. or do a little bit of them, but just watch this and use your own fucking brain. Okay, time for a little boss preparation for the Demon Fire Sage. So, my equipment loadout for this doesn't really change a whole lot from any of the other boss fights that I've been involved in, but you'll notice there that I have the Spellstone Plant Ring, and there is a reason for that, and that is because the Demon Fire Sage is a lie. He deals no fire damage whatsoever. In fact, he is an exact cookie cutter copy of the Asylum Demon and the Stray Demon that you fight in the Asylum Ruins earlier in the game. They actually operate under the same general moves, and they even have the same general area of effect magic attack that the Stray Demon has. So with this fight, you want to bulk up on your physical and your magic resist, because that's all this dude deals. And for this fight, I wanted to focus more on something else, because I've already like dealt it. I mean, I've already like worked this fight before. So I wanted to bring along my Rickard's Rapier, and I also wanted to showcase what it's capable of doing if you enchant it with some elemental damage like magic or lightning or fire, specifically magic in this one, because I feel like it doesn't get a whole lot of attention or love in this one, and personally, I think it's pretty cool for fighting bosses or just in general other baddies that you fight in this game, and possibly for player versus player combat depending on your setup. It's surprisingly effective depending on who you're dealing with. Anyway, for this fight, I also brought along my Crest Shield because this guy deals magic damage, although the area of effect attack kind of negates the ability in using it. So, you'll see for yourself, like, what I'm talking about. Look at me. I'm just so awesome. Little do I know that it actually took me 2 tries to get this fucking thing right. Anyway, to start the fight off, it would probably help you out just a little bit to pre-enchant your weapon to make this work out better. But yeah, like I said, his area of effect attack with the magic damage, I mean, unless you're on the outside of that, you're not actually going to block that with your shield. So it may actually be in your benefit to work on your overall magic resistance instead of equipping a shield. Because, like I said, you may or may not actually be on the outside of that. Yeah, see, like, I thought I was there on the outside of that attack, and it just ended up hitting me anyway. And again, so I would suggest bulking up on your overall magic resistance instead of equipping that shield that blocks 80% of magic damage. This is just from personal experience in dealing with all of this shit. And like I said, I personally love the idea of enchanting my weapons with the ability to deal various elemental damages. I thought that was like the coolest thing when I first found out that you could use Rickard's Rapier, especially with his strong attack, to just like dump on people with elemental damage. Because what I found out in all of this is that the elemental damage you deal is based on the individual hit that you deal instead of that weapon's base damage. So weapons that actually deal a lot of consecutive strikes will actually benefit from it more than any other weapon. And Rickard's Rapier actually does a bunch of hits all at once. I think there's like, what is it? The initial strong attack actually deals 2. And then after that, it's like 3. I think it's like actually like 6 additional hits. I mean, that just dumps on the damage. I mean, you saw the end amount of damage I did at the end of that fight. It was just bonkers. Sweet, made it to the end again. 3 more bosses down. Couple more to go till the end. Anyhow, if you guys like what you're watching here, I would love it if you could give me some more likes and some more love, and let me know if there's other things you want to see in the future. And like always, stay tuned. There's more coming. Later.